Order. Thank you. If everybody would please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you'll join me in the invocation, please. Lord, thank you for this community, and thank you for our residents that are here tonight. Thank you for this committee. But we ask you during this time that you watch over all of our residents that are dealing with stuff. Please help our families to have a great holidays and just keep Lake St. Charles good. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. The blocks. I'll leave that to the expert. I am not tech savvy. So we'll start out, we'll introduce ourselves, starting to my right.
Good evening, Ginny Janakis. I live in Cambridge. Welcome. Glad to see all these nice faces.
Sabrina Peacock, I live in Lexington, and Secretary Treasurer.
Dave, would you like to go?
Yep. Dave Nelson, Vice Chairman, live in Remington.
Marlon, are you here?
Yes, I am. Marlon Brownlee, Supervisor Group 4, and I'm here.
I'm glad you guys could join us. Rob Fannin, Chairman, Remington.
District Manager.
Mark Cooper, Property Manager, Lakeside.
I was just going to say that. So we'll go to the audience. If you'll introduce yourselves and let us know if you have anything you want to speak on this. At this time, you will eventually have 3 minutes to discuss anything you want to with the board. But we'll start to my left.
Teresa Dunn, Thaxton, and what's that, Charleston, all the names. And I would like probably just 2 minutes. I have one question. We'll come back. Just remind me. Introduce yourself. Okay. You have anything? Just here to? Are you just here for the meeting? Yes.
Okay.
I'm from the villas, and I have one little thing that would just take up about maybe a minute, just comment.
Okay.
Tim, sorry, Ellis.
Yvonne Brown from the villas, and I have a couple of things I'd like to discuss.
Okay.
So here from the
Colorado Point Drive.
Barbara Kirby from Portland.
Terry Peacock, Lexington.
Kay Garcia, the villas, and I have a couple of speakers. Connie Marshall from the villas.
Greg Janakis, Cambridge.
All right. Well, thank you for all you coming. We'll just start with their comments if you'd like to start it out.
I'm just curious why we start with a pledge of allegiance and a prayer. Not everyone is religious, and the pledge does have the under God part in it. So I did not expect that at any meetings. So, I don't know if that's something to vote on. or what.
Every county meeting does.
Yeah, every county meeting and every government, and even certain courts in the Hillsborough County starts out with the Pledge of Allegiance.
It's on our agenda as well.
Yeah, and it's on the agenda also.
It's on the agenda, but I'm just curious, with such a large community, it doesn't really appeal to the entire community. it's not as welcoming as some.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next comment was here.
I only had a comment in regards to the speeding on the main Lake St. Charles Drive. I almost got hit this morning. My husband and I, we walk every morning. The three-way, I mean, well, the four-way almost got hit 3 times recently. But we are in the middle of the crosswalk. And a big Suburban just came and just flew through the stop sign. We're in the middle of it. And the speeding is horrendous on that road. When you walk every day, I know people are going to work and they're in a hurry. But when you have to physically stop, the 3 times that the four-way was in broad daylight. People don't even, they just go through it. So I don't know what we can do about that. That's just a concern I have. Is it gonna take someone getting hit?
The four-way out there at Lake St. Charles from our community to the villas, right? That four-way.
Yes, yeah, the main one. And then this one by the entrance to the club, it's the three-way.
Right.
That's where we almost got hit this
It's
morning.
a
We had
three-way.
to stop.
Right.
And we're in the middle of the, well, right there, he had a reflective vest on, I had these on, and it was almost sunrise. About 7 o'clock, 7:15.
Yeah, it's just, you drive anywhere in Riverview and we can tell that civility and concern for others has completely gone away. Those are public streets and all we can do is, report to the sheriff when you see a particular person who's violating it. You've got to take responsibility and be careful because we can't believe people are going to stop. We come out of Remington, which is a really scary, or Lexington, which is really scary because you have to get halfway out onto the main drag to even see traffic. But those are public streets.
Is there any way we could get speed bumps?
We would have to have, is it 2/3? There has to be a traffic study. You work with the Department of Transportation. 2/3 of the residents of Lake St. Charles would have to approve that. And unfortunately, what it does is punish those of us who drive carefully, to try to slow down the few who won't.
So I'll answer this. Speed tables do not deter speed. They've already done a study on it many times. It doesn't. What happens is if we put those up on Lake St. Charles, all the stuff that we mow and take care of, they'll just drive around it. In Cohasset, they have them and people cut around them too. The problem is, I took it upon myself when I was, I think it was last year that I called HCSO and asked them to come in and enforce the speed. I asked them not to write the residents tickets, all right? Because if you're speeding, you go from $250 to $400 like that. It depends on how many miles per hour you're over the speed limit. I didn't want to hit our residents that hard. I asked them to give warnings. Just so you know, they gave out 10 warnings in like 30 minutes. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The problem is we're in the cell phone age now. Everybody's on their cell phones, everybody's running late, and they just come through. We have people that drive really slow and people that drive really fast. If we have to call the sheriff's department back out, they told me the next time, we won't be giving warnings anymore. But if that's something we need to do, I would caution everybody to drive this. We will let people know that the county is coming out here, but they're going to write tickets the next time we call them out here. They'll do it one time for the warnings and things like that. But if we call them back out here, it's going to be tickets. So
How much are those signs that have the posted speed limit and then your speed? Just curious. It wouldn't help, it wouldn't affect the worst offenders. It's not gonna adjust their habits, but it might adjust others.
So-
And they have to be behind them.
So most of those speed signs now are all done by solar. The only way that an officer or somebody come out and could write a ticket on a sign is it's run by it's calibrated and it's been checked. If we put those signs, those freestanding signs, which are solar, they're gonna be 1 to 2, 3 miles per hour off. So if you're behind them and somebody's, they're going, it says 43 and it's a 35, just so you know, in the state of Florida, if you're going 5 miles an hour above the speed limit, not one law enforcement can stop you. You have to be 6 and above the speed limit in order to be stopped. Okay, so, I mean, it's something to deter people going 55 and a 35, but they're expensive. To answer your question, they're very expensive.
Yeah, we did get some quotes and we've been kind of holding them if it's something that we can do for capital improvement, but it's, one more project. So
Yeah,
we're
I wasn't thinking permanent, I was thinking put it up for a week.
Well, we
just to
could,
see if it would.
we could
even
ask the sheriff's
affect
department to bring it
anybody.
in on the main drag. They won't put it on Colonial Lake, but they'll put it on Lake St. Charles Boulevard.
We've done that before.
Just a
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah, they'll put
They
it,
just continued that program.
right. Oh, did they? Okay, they might have.
Yeah, the signs are about $3,100.
There, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I guarantee you from the stop sign to the freeway up here, they're hitting 55 and 60 miles an hour.
You are absolutely correct. 100%. Yep, you're 100% correct on that. All right. You were next.
Yes. I was just wondering, when you guys are gonna finish putting the Christmas decoration in at the beginning of our community, like Lake St. Charles. I'm sure it's not done, right?
It is done, but we could
Really?
amend it, we've only ever put wreaths there in the past, but we do have a couple of extra garlands we can put on top of it.
Yeah, why is that? Why don't you guys decorate the entrance to our subdivision like you guys? We pay. So why aren't we getting the same treatment?
We can do it, we have extra, this year's Christmas was kind of crazy.
That's all.
Supplies weren't there, everything was sold out.
But that
So
looks like an afterthought in our interest.
We really just got it done.
I tell you what, let us address that tomorrow. We'll go out there and look at it if we can.
Yeah,
We definitely need to take care of y'all,
Oh,
just so
absolutely.
y'all are happy too. So.
Yeah, you guys is beautiful. Yours is always beautiful. And it's something, always ours look like it's whatever was left over, you throw it up on our interest. You like to look pretty good.
I promise you, we include y'all in everything, but we'll go out there and definitely make it right, okay?
But we have not decorated individual neighborhoods.
Yeah.
No, I know it's not individual, but it's the entrance, it is the entrance to here. And I think we should be looking just as good as you guys.
You are, Chairman.
Yes, sir, Dave.
Yeah, those Lake St. Charles lights at the entrance, if it's that is all of Lake St. Charles, which includes the villas. So either you're together or you're separate.
Well, but they don't see it when you come in off of 301.
But I agree with the chairman. I mean, if there's something that we could do and going for, let's do something, whatever we can now we want to make sure that we don't exclude anyone that is our residents, part of Lake St. Charles. And I think going forward, we need to make sure that every year, it's not to try to figure it out. We just need to make sure that going forward, it is, that it's part of it.
We can make.
All right, we can make it happen, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you.
Volunteers to help decorate.
I'll help.
Seriously, yeah, we
Yeah.
can get the time bulbs onto the base and.
I'll be more than happy to, because they kind of look like Charlie Brown.
All right, ma'am,
They're not even lit,
you didn't have anything?
There was
Did you-
one where there's a cake left this afternoon, this evening.
We were over here, I think. Terry, you didn't.
I think mine's later.
Whenever the audience comments, you can.
Yep, it's your turn.
It's your 3 minutes to say whatever.
We're talking about irrigation in the water,
Aeration.
the aeration in the water. Possibly that's going to come up for discussion, and if that's the case, we'd like to be considered out there on our water and some of our villas as well.
The pond right in the front, correct?
There's two ponds. There's two ponds. There's one in the front and then there's one behind fire. That's pond back there too. But
Oh,
there's-
no, that's not what we're talking about.
Okay, okay, so we can't do both?
I think we'll do what we want. Anyway,
So the pond in front, correct? That's what we're talking about. Is there another pond in there?
There's a little bitty sump in the middle.
Okay, yeah, it's
It's
gotta be,
behind the walls.
it's gotta be a certain size for it to help too.
but mine was actually bigger than the one in front.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, the one down behind the houses, but in other words, you got the one to the left or to the right of the entrance as you come in. To the left of the entrance, the other one stretches behind about 5 or 6 houses.
And so your concern is putting something there.
Yeah, I think the whole idea of irrigation would be important for. It's pretty small.
Every lake can't have one.
It's very small.
So,
Inside is very-
so what were y'all thinking that was? Because I know people see the fountains here and that they do things, they don't do anything. They just push the water right by it. And so we're putting in here because we had midge problems that were driving people crazy because they would swarm you. When we went through the whole midge thing, I don't think the villas were they going through that as much as we were?
I don't know if we got out and really checked it out. I just know it's terribly stagnant.
Okay. Okay,
If that's what you were doing it for, then possibly we did it.
okay. All right, next to you.
No, I don't have any. I was here to support the installation of some kind of filtration in that pond because it's really bad. There are times when the surface of it is so full of algae that you can hardly see into it.
All right.
Mark, do you want to share with them the pond maintenance regimen that we had to take?
Which one?
Just the pond maintenance as far as coming out and looking at things like algae.
Yeah, we do have a service. They treat all of the water bodies, including the one in the front. And the one, I think they treat the little one as well, but they will be putting in bacteria to help beat up, the debris that gets in it, much like the septic system. And they treat it for algae.
Does that take care of the mosquito?
But I do know for a fact that your particular pond is fairly shallow, which is part of the problem. It's literally 2 feet deep.
Now, which one are you talking about?
The one in the front,
The very front?
alligators.
As you come into your entrance to the right, it never gets above a certain point.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
is
yes.
that something where you could dig it out, like it's dry, like dredging, that might make it more viable?
We could.
Is that the reason why
I've
it's
recently
stagnant?
discovered a new thing. I wish we'd known this before, but there's a company that does the same type of dredging that we had just undertaken. But instead of hauling the dirt off, they put the bags on the shoreline and they reconstruct the shoreline with the fill out of the pond. So they stabilize them, embankment.
So that would be something that, since we're working on capital improvement, it would have to be readdressed. It's a project we haven't budgeted for, so we have to. Look into that.
I think it's something that we need to discuss and we have another meeting coming up, so we'll discuss it. Yeah. Thank you. Next. Is anybody in the back? All right, 7:20. We got a motion to,
Motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
all right, all in favor?
Actually,
Uh,
Aye.
Hold
sorry,
on,
I had-
actually what?
yeah, on one of them, I thought I saw a typo on the November 2nd minutes. I think it's on page 3. It says mainstay, not main, it should have say mainscape.
Yes, that's me, not for.
I just think that's a typing error.
Okay, as long as it's, okay,
Corrected.
Hello?
We'll correct it. Yeah, Dave.
okay.
Yeah,
Hello?
Dave. Yeah,
This is Scott, actually. I did raise my hand, but I guess they don't see that on Zoom. I did want to make a comment kind of in regards to traffic, because I live in the first section right near the entrance. I forgot the name of that division there, but people have been doing donuts in the intersection of Lake St. Charles and Crikel for 3 weekends now. I'm just wondering if there's anything, and I've called the sheriff department about it already to see if we can get someone out there, but they missed it the last 2 times it happened.
I'll put you off right there. That is totally a sheriff's problem.
Milk. Oh, okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I was in line at the drive-in. So
But we gotta move forward. That's a sheriff's, that's definitely a Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office issue. We don't own that
Okay.
intersection.
all
So
right,
keep calling them and keep calling them until they get tired of you calling them.
okay. All right,
All
I
right.
will. Thanks.
Good, thank you. Are we gonna cut that off? Okay. All right. All right, so we have a motion, right? Did you get it? Yes. Everybody was all in favor. Okay, how do we do that? Just want me to say. Okay, we're gonna open up the floor for the Florida Department of Transportation, which most of you know them as FDOT. They're gonna give us a presentation about what's going on in the building outside of our community.
Construction on I-75 from Big Bend Road to New Tampa. Two separate phases.
Are you here?
Yes.
Are you here? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, Jeff Novotny is here and so is Ashley Hensel. If you can give me screen sharing access, I can at least share with those that can see.
All right, can you introduce yourself for the audience tonight?
Sure.
that-
Sure. My name is Jeff Novotny and I also have Ashley Hensel with me. And we're representing FDOT on these projects. They're at a project development and environment stage, so they're at an early development stage, and we're working towards a public hearing towards the end of January. So we wanted to at least give your community an opportunity to kind of see or find out a little bit more about the project in advance of that public hearing. I don't know if anyone can give me screen sharing access, but
She's working on it right now.
okay, sounds great. I'll just get going and we'll catch up whenever I see that I have access. All right, so today we're presenting actually on 2 adjacent studies that are underway for I-75 within the vicinity of Lake St. Charles. And the design year for these improvements is out to year 2045. There's currently 2 adjacent studies. There's a southern project that runs from Moccasin Wallow Road down in Manatee County and goes up to US 301 in Hillsborough, which isn't too far from Lake St. Charles there. And then the second study runs from just south of US 301 and goes to north of Bruce B. Downs Boulevard. Together, both studies combined are approximately 41 miles. And these are 2 projects that are segments of the department's Tampa Bay Next program to modernize Tampa Bay's infrastructure and prepare for the future. The goal of this Tampa Bay Next program is to improve safety, mobility through innovation, collaboration, and community engagement, and specifically looking at the interstates of I-4, I-275, and I-75. And it looks like I have screen sharing rights. Okay. So here's a map that, if you can see it, shows the 2 projects, the southern project in purple and the northern project in green. The purpose of these projects is to evaluate alternatives to address the corridor's capacity, improve emergency evacuation, relieve congestion, better meet transportation demand. The idea is to enhance overall safety, provide an efficient movement of goods and services, preserve the regional functionality of the interstate system, enhance the operating conditions, and sustain economic development through continued access and provide for future growth. The southern project that I mentioned is from just north of Moccasin Wallow and ends just south of US 301. It's 23 miles long. The project is proposed to widen I-75 to the inside or to the median by providing two 12-foot express lanes in each direction. Improvements will take place predominantly within the existing right-of-way of I-75, but there will be some right-of-way required for some of the stormwater management facilities, pond sites, and floodplain compensation sites.
I don't mean to interrupt. What do you mean by express lanes?
I'm going to explain what those are in a little bit more detail.
Okay.
So let me first walk through today. I-75 is a 6-lane facility with 3 travel lanes in each direction from Moccasin Wallow up to Gibsonton Drive. And then there typically contains 10-foot shoulders on either side of the roadways. And then there's an 88-foot grass median that separates both directions of travel. From Gibsonton to South US 301, there's an additional travel lane, an auxiliary lane in each direction with the same 88-foot grass median. The northern project is approximately 18 miles long from US 301 to just north of Bruce B. Downs Boulevard, and it also includes work at the interchange at I-4. This project will also widen to the inside to provide 2 express lanes in each direction. And again, the improvements will mostly take place within the existing right-of-way. However, there will be right-of-way required for pond sites, floodplain compensation sites, and at some of the interchanges for operational improvements, as well as some right-of-way needed in the southwest quadrant of I-4 and I-75. The existing roadway in this section, similar to the southern section. However, there is a system of collector distributor roads between US 301, the Selman Expressway, and State Road 60 on the outside. But there is the same 88-foot grass median in the median along I-75. So I'll get into what we're proposing a little bit more in detail. The preferred typical section for both projects includes adding 2 express lanes in the median with 12 to 15-foot inside shoulders separated by a concrete barrier in either direction. The express lanes are going to be separated from the existing lanes by a 4-foot wide painted and delineated buffer. So in terms of what are the express lanes, while the general use lanes, which are the current lanes that are out there, can be used by any vehicle, express lanes are additional travel lanes separated from these general use lanes and intended to relieve congestion, improve safety, and provide users with travel options. Interchange access from the express to the current lanes may be provided a little less frequently than that of the general use lanes to the interchanges that are there today. And this is intended to ease travel for longer regional trips. The express lanes could be managed by either access control, tolls, vehicle type, or vehicle occupancy. And future studies will evaluate exactly how the express lanes would be managed. In the southern project, there are 3 existing interchanges at Gibsonton Drive, Big Bend Road, and State Road 674 Sun City Center. The interchange at Big Bend Road is being improved under a separate project and is not included in this study. The Gibsonton Drive interchange is proposed to be converted to what's called a diverging diamond interchange configuration to better handle traffic. And it's a little hard to see on this map. We can talk you through what that means. There are several diverging diamond interchanges under construction along I-75 and one that opened down at University Parkway down in Sarasota within the last year or 2. The State Road 674 interchange will be improved to link exit and entrance ramps and add a collector distributor road system to link these ramps north of the interchange to provide better operation. The interchanges in the northern project, the Martin Luther King interchange is being improved under a separate project, so it's not included in this study. All the other interchanges associated with the project in these limits will see ramp modifications, or new ramps will be provided to accommodate the widening. I mentioned stormwater management facilities, pond sites, and floodplain compensation sites. We've been evaluating the need to store and treat stormwater so it doesn't create any flooding concerns. And also treat the stormwater in grassy areas before sending the water to downstream areas. First, we look at areas within the existing right-of-way of the interstate, such as at existing interchanges, including at Gibsonton Drive, US 301. We will need to purchase land outside the interstate footprint for offsite ponds for stormwater and to compensate for floodplain impacts. The preferred sites for these stormwater management and floodplain sites were evaluated for environmental impacts and will be shown in more detail at the public hearing. The environmental analysis looked at several factors such as historic resources, wetlands, endangered species and their habitats, floodplains, land use, community impacts, noise impacts, and others. The details of the environmental effects will be shown at the public hearing. Overall, since the express lanes are proposed to be constructed in the existing median of I-75, the environmental impacts are minimal for the preferred alternative. Traffic noise from the proposed improvements is expected to impact some adjacent properties. FDOT is committed to constructing noise barriers where reasonable and feasible during the construction phase, and will coordinate with affected property owners and the local governments. Noise barriers will be further studied during the project's design phase. Project costs are shown on this slide if you're able to see it. Both projects are found in the Hillsborough County's Transportation Planning Organization's Long-Range Transportation Plan, the cost feasible plan. However, neither project is currently funded in the FDOT's 5-year work program. The South project, including the Gibsonton Drive interchange, is estimated to cost around $670 million. And the Northern project that has much more extensive work required is estimated at approximately $1.9 billion. In addition to looking at these build options, the no build or do nothing alternative is also considered viable, and we're considering that and weighing it against the build alternative for the duration of the study. Under this alternative, no improvements except routine maintenance would be made to I-75. So in short, the preferred alternative for these I-75 projects will add 2 express lanes in each direction of I-75 from Moccasin Wallow in Manatee County to north of Bruceby Downs and Hillsborough. It will include noise barriers where feasible. Will provide improved interchange ramp configurations to accommodate the interstate widening and operational improvements, and will require some additional right-of-way for stormwater management facilities, floodplain compensation sites, and for some of the interchange ramp improvements. Next, we're showing project schedule. The project analysis is ongoing. A first public hearing was held on this project back in 2010, which also showed proposed express lanes. But these studies were on hold while the Tampa Bay Next program was being developed by the FDOT. Since then, our teams have been working on updating our analysis, and a second public hearing is planned for January 27th, 2022. Following the hearing, the study team will review all the public input, finalize the draft study documents, and submit them for review and approval, which is planned for the spring of 2022. The public hearing that I mentioned will be held at Hilton Garden Inn from 5:30 to 7:30 on January 27th, and will include an open house and a formal portion starting at 6:30. For those unable to attend in person, we anticipate also having a virtual component so the public can view materials and make comments by a GoToWebinar link from their homes at the same time as the public hearing is happening. Draft study documents for both projects will be available for review at the Ruskin Branch Library, the Brandon Branch Library, and at the FDOT District 7 office from January 6th through February 11. This information will also be provided on the project website and available at the public hearing. For more information about the project, we provided our website to you earlier today. That is www.ftotd7studies.com/I75. In early January, we'll send out more detailed information about all elements of these projects, as well as an invite to our public hearing on January 27th. We wanted to get information out to local groups like yours in advance for your benefit and to help answer any questions you may specifically have. Your group will be sent an invitation to the public hearing that you can distribute to your members. So with that, I wanted to thank you for letting us take a few minutes out of your meeting. I know you get a lot of things to discuss. Ashley and I are here to answer any questions, and we'll even, if you have any that you want to follow up with at a later time, we'll provide Ashley's email address that you can send them to. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a lot of comments about
What does reasonable and feasible?
Yes.
that. That means if you don't say something, you won't get it.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to ask something before you go away. Sound
Sure.
barrier, when you're
Yes.
expanding 75,
Mhm.
and I know that inside and everything, but we all know once you build an inside, you have to have so many feet for emergencies and all that stuff. They did not have a sound barrier wall for our neighborhood. Are they going to build one if we request it?
We've had a chance to go through our preliminary analysis for noise throughout both projects. And we do have noise walls that are anticipated. I heard a question about the reasonable and feasible piece. What that means is what we do is we look at how many affected adjacent properties or residents that would be impacted by an increase in noise. And based upon a cost factor of how much a wall costs versus the benefit, there's a cost feasible piece or cost reasonable piece. And then we look at the engineering feasibility of whether a wall can be built in a particular location. I will say, if you were to go to the public hearing, you will notice on our concept plans that we've identified a potential noise barrier running along Lake St. Charles development along I-75. The wall is, the way we've evaluated it, would be placed along the right-of-way line for I-75. And when I looked at the noise results earlier today, it was going to range from about 20 to 22 feet tall. So at the public hearing, our noise experts will be there to answer any more detailed questions you might have. But it's definitely something that we've evaluated not only within your area, but throughout the corridor of I-75. So we know that that's definitely a public concern.
Right, that's awesome, but would they build a berm and then build the wall, or are you talking about 22 feet from the road surface?
It would be 22 feet at the existing ground level. So
Right.
if you take the existing ground level at the fence line, the right-of-way line, and then go up 20 to 22 feet would be roughly the top of the wall, if that ends up being the optimum height, based upon how many noise receptors are benefited by that wall. But whenever we do noise studies like this, we always then reevaluate them in the design phase to fine tune the details. But at least at this point, I wanted to at least let you know that there's potential for a noise wall based on everything we've seen so far.
Excellent.
Do you actually do decimal readings in
Yes,
this evaluation? How far?
Yeah. Yeah, as part of that, we look at readings, existing readings to validate our noise model, to make sure that the traffic we're seeing based on existing conditions is commensurate with the noise that we're hearing. And then we evaluate the future traffic volumes as well as where those traffic is coming from in terms of where the lanes are situated as part of the noise model. So it's a pretty intensive evaluation that we go through. But it starts from readings, existing noise readings.
So you would take into account the furthest away lanes because the angle of the sound is very different if you're up close to the wall versus 180 feet away from it.
Yes, and we even model things like adjacent ponds because sometimes water will reflect noise differently than a wooded area. So we take into account a lot of different factors in that noise model.
Lake
I
St. Charles
do have
has
one
26
concern, just a major one. You're planning for just 2 lanes, express lanes.
Each direction.
And
In each direction.
2045, and we will be built clear to Sarasota, urbanized by 2045. And my observation of living here for 30 or 40 years is that about the time you get your projects done, they're already obsolete. I think you need to plan for many more lanes if that's what you're going to be doing.
I don't disagree that traffic, usually falls a little bit more. We have taken into account the future traffic modeling that the counties have put together based upon their future land use, and believe we have a decent evaluation of future traffic. We only normally look out 20 to 25 years in terms of horizon for projects like this. But certainly your comment is worthy of consideration for sure.
But you guys don't deal with 301 then?
US 301 is a FDOT roadway. So we would look at improvements that would be related to the interchange based upon what's happening at I-75. There may be other projects, and Ashley may know if there's any others on US 301 that are planned. And we would work in conjunction with those, but they may be separate from what we're doing here today with these projects.
Right, because it's a car lot from Causeway all the way to Big Bend on 301 now. And when, even just 15 years ago, it was a 2-lane road and there was no traffic. And now it's 45 minutes from Causeway to Gibsonton. And when you expand 75, if you don't do anything at the Big Bend, so I understand the diamond thing. A lot of people don't understand it, but I understand it. Why wouldn't you do the diamond shape at Big Bend if you're doing it at Gibsonton? Because that seems to work.
The Big Bend Road is actually, it's being advanced sooner than this I-75 project. It's actually under development right now and working towards construction. Because that was higher on the priority list, that one plus the Martin Luther King interchange were 2 that were pulled out and advanced. And at that interchange, there's existing loop ramps at Big Bend that make a diverging diamond a little bit more complicated. So we've got a slightly different configuration, but a innovative design to be able to better handle traffic operations there. Ashley may be familiar with that one as well. Ashley? Oh, sounds like your voice isn't coming through. Okay.
So they're just
What is
redesigning.
the actual construction estimated start time?
Right now, these projects are not in the current 5-year work program, which means they wouldn't start anytime in the next 5 years. However, we've seen a number of projects advanced with stimulus funds and other advanced funds coming through over the last year or so. So there's a lot of projects that we thought were going to be 10 to 20 years off, and they're starting to happen much sooner, which makes room for projects like these to advance. But right now, there's nothing currently in the 5-year work program.
All right. Anything else, Mark? Anybody? No? Anybody in the audience? It's a lot of information. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll forward you our slides so you have those, and obviously you'll get an invitation to the public hearing in January. So
we-
your residents can participate, so.
Yeah, we'd like to get our residents there.
The Hilton Garden is on Martin Luther King.
Well, I'll get a.
You actually answered, I'm sorry.
Which Hilton
Actually-
Garden?
Hilton Garden Inn at US 301.
Okay, yeah, over by the fairgrounds.
Yeah, just on the west side of 301 interchange.
It's right up the street. On the right side.
On the right side.
And sorry, I wasn't able to unmute myself earlier, but we appreciate your time and your comments. And there is a comment form on the website as well that you can put comments in, and you can email them to me, or we'll take them at the public hearing as well. So thank you for those comments tonight.
And we'll share that website with you all.
All right, well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Ask Adrian if they're off. Are they off?
No.
Marla's face is there.
Does everybody
It- it's-
understand?
It still says sharing Jeff's screen, at least on my screen. I'm not sure if something's messed up.
Does everybody understand the diamond thing they're talking about? So what happens is they switch the lanes completely. So you're used to coming and going on the right. What happens is when you come, you will be on the left. Because in this, they did a study not long ago about accidents turning left across traffic. If you can swap lanes, most people, it'll deter traffic and you move much faster. There's one in Pasco or Pinellas, don't quote me, 1-1, and it's doing very well. So that's what they want to do at Gibsonton. So when you come up to it, you'll actually swap over. So, you know, if you were coming, you always go off to the right, you will go off to the left with no traffic coming at you.
Like the 50th exit from the crosstown, you have to go onto the left side exit.
No, it won't be anything like that. It won't be, you will just, you'll be coming up and you will go underneath the traffic coming at you and you'll just go off.
Oh.
So it's very weird until you get used to it.
Yeah. Sarasota
It's Sarasota, thank you.
University.
Sarasota has it. So go down there. It does work, but we have a lot. I mean, 301's a parking lot. I mean, they're not doing, but
It's
he
so bad
avoided.
sometimes you can't even go across Lake St. Charles, like when you're at the Winn-Dixie to cross over.
That was the scene.
It blocks the people going north and south won't leave the opening when we have the light in our favor.
I have some insight. A few years ago, Hillsborough County made Riverview, the downtown core, a special planning district, like they have Oldsmar and some of these smaller towns, which forced them to, any new development, put them, the building on the street and the parking lot behind, i.e. the Aldis, the O'Reillys, that's part of that whole new thing. So they pinched themselves in, we will never widen 301. What needs to happen is they probably need another bridge coming down Providence over the Alpine River and on south, so you can collect all those people at another north-south route.
Well, they also need to do, so I would suggest everybody that can in this neighborhood, and this support is go to that meeting and voice your opinions, because we're all in this together. The villas and Lake St. Charles are into this together, all right? Because you were not, in 5 years, you are not going to be able to get through that Bloomingdale light in 30 or 40 minutes. You are going to sit there. You're going to sit there because they are building townhouses right here on Crickle, over 200 units.
But does that have anything to do with the I-75?
Yes, that's why I asked them, do you have the 301? And they said, yes, that is an FDOT. So the Florida Department of Transportation handles 301 because it's a US road.
Right, but anything to do with the Bloomingdale intersection wasn't anything he was mentioning.
Exactly. That's why we need to go, because they need to build an overpass like they did at Bruce B. Downs. So you can avoid that light altogether, right there at the bank They have plenty of room to build an overpass to the interstate of the
Eventually, they're
vegetable.
getting ready to tear that up and make it all concrete.
Yeah.
Like here in the next year or so.
Well, they're trying to make 2 extra lanes for that. That's not gonna work. They need to build over that intersection. Yeah, they gotta build over.
I hadn't heard him mention anything to do with Bloomingdale, that's why I was.
But if you can, I suggest all residents anywhere with this community, go to that and voice your opinion.
We're on Franklin, they building those 200 units.
And they're right there by the church.
The other side, north side of the church.
North side of the
there's a
Oh, we're on
lane
that
that goes
far
back
right
to.
to that?
Yeah, where they sold it.
It's a
So
narrow little lane.
Oh, Lord.
that's why they're out there measuring sidewalks and stuff. All right, well, we're good, right? We can move on. So we'll go to the treasurer review committee.
As we're looking at our CIP for the next 5 years, I wanted to kind of put together a discussion on possibly selling our facility monitor car. It's a 2013 Hyundai Accent. And I got a quote from Carvana that I'll pay $10,440 for it, which is pretty cool. And we would revert to the federal 56 cents a mile of reimbursement for the facilities monitor. And that would alleviate the need for a $20,000+ CIP expenditure to replace that vehicle.
Buy a lot of 56-cent miles for 10 grand.
Quite a few. What is a facilities monitor?
That's the individual that we have on staff who keeps an eye on the different CVB amenities. You know, goes down to the park area, oversees the pool monitors during the summer sessions.
The purpose is that we're all paying the CE fees for the amenities, and people that don't live here will pull in and go use the amenities. And there's really no way to manage that. We are by statute not allowed to do policing power, but we can do monitoring, and we can ask people, do you live here? And ask them to leave, they're basically trespassing. So that's what the facility monitor does.
I've never seen this person or that vehicle. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, they drive
You
around.
probably don't recognize it. He's around constantly.
The Hyundai, the cars.
You wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not marked or anything like that, so.
He comes into the village. He does patrol the village.
I thought he was at the meeting.
No.
He's not here tonight, Dave.
He got a text.
He actually took the vaccine, so
Uh,
second dose did him like it did me.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I would hope negatively impact our facilities monitor to sell the vehicle. That's what I'm.
No, I mean, so.
If somebody has one.
I, so you know, we have to have one because as the amenities have grown here, we've had issues with constantly with people coming in, going to the playground and all this. So we have to have someone that's capable, who's courageous enough to walk up to people by himself. Usually he's outnumbered.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just
And
talking
so
about
I don't,
removing the vehicle in that
has you
person's
talked to him
house.
about how, is he okay with it? I mean, Mark, you,
I asked you, and I think he said he was okay with
Mhm.
doing it. and getting-
because it would go to 50 cents a mile,
56.
56?
And it could go up.
so I can ask him to just sit then, and then I can save money.
He just walks.
Well,
He
it
can
gives
take
us
the
the
dog park
ability to
too.
kind of know what activity is going on too.
All right, I see.
I was actually wondering too, maybe the truck that sometimes isn't being, when it's not being used, maybe there could be a trade-off there. If there's alternatives for it, I just don't want to take
That's a
away.
losing proposition. 'cause
Yeah,
that's a hauling.
that truck's for hauling, yeah.
Additional savings, last year we spent on maintenance for the Hyundai, $400, another $660 in gas and about $350 insurance, so about $1,400 a year we would save. Now, we offset by paying the reimbursement, but over the long haul would,
Yeah, what would the reimbursement be like, you think?
it'd be about $3,000 looking at what the mileage has been.
Oh.
3,000.
Dave or Marlon, you got a comment?
For the year? 56.
I do
No.
not.
I do.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, first of all, I'd like to know if, was this Sabrina's idea or was it his idea?
It was Sabrina's idea.
Okay, and have we not talked to him about this?
Yes, we have.
And he's okay with it?
I think, Dave, our responsibility is to look at the expenses that we have for the community, whether it's capital improvement or operating and maintenance and management. And when we are looking at our CIP for the next 5 to 10 years, we have to seriously look at those future expenditures. And this was one that was possibly an alternative to.
How much, I got a question, how much would it save us by selling the car and having him just drive his own personal vehicle? A year?
Well, this is a discussion. She can sell the car for $10,000,
Right.
right? And then she said that we would be around $3,000 in reimbursement. But
We wouldn't pay insurance or gas.
we wouldn't pay insurance, and we'd have to look up how much insurance we're paying on that car
Right,
first. Second,
What were those numbers you just?
it's just slipped my
Yeah,
mind.
just
Sabrina.
over $1,400 a year in expenses, and that's before anything serious goes wrong with the car.
So that's just the insurance and the gas.
so with that 56 cents a mile, I mean, he would pay for his own gas out of that?
Yes.
Okay,
So if I heard you right, we pay $1,400 a year in insurance and gas, and we could potentially pay $3,000 a year in reimbursement at 56 cents a mile. That doesn't seem like it's a positive.
Well, eventually you're gonna have more mechanical repairs as a vehicle. I don't know the age of the vehicle or the miles on it.
It's in our.
It's almost 10 years.
So purchasing the vehicle is where that,
Right.
So upcoming.
but we could also not pay for reimbursement and just use the golf cart to control the property and have it just park.
Well, the problem with that is we only have one golf cart.
I think, Chairman, I think it's something we probably ought to look at and analyze a little more before we make a decision.
Wanted to bring up a discussion. She didn't make a motion,
Right.
right? I think it's something that we all need to discuss in our meetings though, for sure. So we all know the numbers. Adriana.
A thing that just popped into my head as well that I will contact our insurance carrier is how would he be affected if he's driving his personal vehicle to do our work? I mean, he's never been in an accident or anything on property.
You just jinxed it.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't ever say that.
But
No, that's part of what the 56 cents a mile
it's the cover.
covers. It
Yeah, the
covers-
56 cents, once you do something where you're driving your own vehicle, that's on you. Yeah, there's no, it
So
won't be on the,
district wouldn't be liable.
yeah, so that's something
Okay.
we'd have to look at. Yeah, we wouldn't be
Okay,
liable.
well, we will table it. The offer will not continue to be $10,440. That's only good for a certain period of time. But we can revisit it next month. I just wanted to get the thought out there.
I have a question. If you took the 10,440 as a trade-in, it wouldn't be a $20,000 purchase for a car. You would be paying 10, so what we budgeted might be less than what we thought.
Could be.
So just something, we have to get more data around this to make a decision, but there's a lot to weigh out
Okay,
there.
well, when we are at our CIP meeting next week, we need to figure out where that process is.
Exactly.
No, no,
I
I
think
would,
it's a great idea.
I would suggest to the whole board by the next meeting that's coming up, we should all have a better opinion.
I have an opinion, but we need more information.
No, no, no. I mean, when I say better opinion, you need to do your homework and research it.
You also buy another golf cart for 10,000. Right, that's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm saying, Barbara, that think about it, and we could get a better one that can tow things out when we
I
do
think the
illegal
golf cart's a
dumping.
better approach because what we're trying to do is keep people off the amenities and it's not that big of a area, so you don't need a car.
Still need some.
Oh, absolutely, then I'm not.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay. Thank you. All right, grounds and security, Mr. Nelson.
Yes, we met informally to discuss the condition of the property and options for moving forward, and no specific recommendations were made. Thank you. Next.
That's awesome. Nothing at all. Good. So the management committee, sorry, met, not on a regular thing. I came down here to sign a contract. I just wanted to ask, they started, right? Okay, so, yeah, I can already tell the difference. I will say, I voted against them, but it does look better. And came to your recommendation, I think you swayed most of the board, so anything goes wrong, I'm gonna blame you. So, but,
Chair, for those that have been to meetings.
Yeah.
so we had ASI and things went really bad. The first couple of years were, well, the first year and a half, Mark, I don't wanna upset Mark, but they kind of,
They were good.
they were really good. And then they started, I think going through the COVID thing, they lost a lot of people and they actually fell apart. Well, I was gonna give them,
what's that?
The landscape.
the land, we're talking about landscape, I'm sorry, landscaping. So they came and gave a last ditch effort and a couple of us voted for them to give them a shot and the board voted them down and they went with Mainscape. And some of our residents know of Maine, I don't want to call them out because, but they knew Mainscape, said they were very good. And it actually looks a lot better, I will say. Yeah. So, and I will tell you, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but this stood out to me, the blowers that they have. It was top of the line because I've been stopped. I'm a big trail user and I've been stopped time and time again that those pine needles and everybody slips on them. And when you take just a hand blower, it doesn't blow them far enough. But I think the equipment they have will do a lot better job. So I can admit when I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. They look better.
Chair, don't admit that you're wrong that quickly. Give it some time.
Oh, well, Dave, here's the good thing. When we come from a year from now, I can also say I told you so.
But how
So-
long did they agree to the same? I think I saw it somewhere.
Until they
Same
gave them 1
contract?
year. 30%.
So everything's going up. We already know it. We've already budgeted. So it's gonna go drastically up. We know that. Drastically.
But not just because of the change of company.
No,
Is what I'm
no.
trying to get at.
We think help this price for.
Yes, ma'am.
So they just started a new company.
Just started, just this week.
I would love to see them pay a little more attention to the new area that you put in and where the bench is and a lot of the.
And all the
plants
areas.
there,
Yes.
other plants in
That
there.
you picked out a spot that was being neglected, yes. So hopefully that will be taken care of.
Good.
So, and then our second thing that we did, and I just want to bring up like Sabrina did. Come our next meeting, I think we really need to sit down. I know we had time limit. I hope Marlon can hear me because I know he's put so much effort and strategic. But I think there's going to have to be a master plan for the park moving forward. Because if we do any construction or anything, discussing this in the committee meeting, we're gonna have to step 1, step 2, step 3. I will tell you guys, going into that meeting, the trail needs to be redone. It has to be redone. This community is looking at very serious issues with the trail. We've had sinkholes on there that aren't not big sinkhole, but they're sinking. We have things that are eroding. I just think the trail is going to have to be done sooner than we all think, and it's not going to be phases. And we all know the price.
Well, not everyone here has been at those meetings, but we're looking at over $500,000.
Yeah, it's 550,000.
More than that.
So,
600.
yeah, 600,000.
And that was estimates from years ago.
Right.
And we'd like to make it concrete so that we don't have the tree root issue in the road.
But I just wanted to bring this up coming into that meeting as the committee chairman. I think it needs to be discussed when we sign up that we're looking at another loan, bond, well, however it goes to repair the whole thing. That's gonna have to be I mean, it is in bad shape.
I think it's helpful for people to know, if maybe Adriana wants to speak to it, that because we're a government entity, we just can't go to the bank, get a loan like other entities, that there's processes that have to take place and there's fees involved, and it's a little more complicated than one would think. If we were to look at funding it through debt, it's not just as easy as going to your bank and saying, see, we got some money coming in.
We have to handle it. Interest rates are very, very low right now, but we have to weigh that against what we anticipate inflation could be over 10 years, which in my opinion, the interest rate's probably gonna outweigh the
Are there any
inflation.
grants for the improvements like that?
Not at that, yeah.
Not at that level.
Yeah, we can
No.
get $5,000 a whack, but we can't quite do the
And we've-
600,000.
And Mark has done an excellent job in getting grants for the neighborhood, and we've looked into
I
that.
got another one I need approval on tonight.
Okay, all right, we'll get to you.
One
But
thing-
that's- Go ahead.
One thing at a time.
All right, thank you. But that's all I have. I just want to prepare you guys for the next meeting, which I think all of you should come. It's better if we have the neighborhood here, because you get to hear firsthand what all we go through. People think we just make this stuff up in each meeting, and this is years and years and years of talking. Go ahead, Mark.
I just wanted to mention, I do need approval for this year's grant. I can describe the project. The deadline for submission is December the 16th, next week. next Friday. Also, when we go to redo the trail, I think we could work with Hillsborough County and actually move that crossing to a forward crosswalk position where the pedestrians do have the right of way. That is not considered a crosswalk because of its proximity. So technically, I mean, pedestrians always have the right of way, but it's not.
I'm glad you brought that up,
You
because
talk at the stop sign, at the T,
so most people don't know they changed that law many years ago. Pedestrians do not always have the right of way anymore in the state of Florida. You have to be in the crosswalk and you have to have a crossing sign. If you do not, meaning this four-way stop is the only correct crosswalk that we have in this neighborhood.
Which is
Meaning if you're there first, you have the right of way. So when you're coming out of the villas, because I see you guys walking all the time, when you come up to the villas to come onto the boulevard from, well, the boulevard, but to come across Crikel, if you're there before that car pulls up, you have the right of way. If you step out in front of the car that's already there, since there's no sign and they hit you, it is your fault. Okay? So people have to realize the only time you have the right of way is if you're at an official crosswalk with the sign that says you're allowed to walk.
And the stop bar.
Yeah, this stop bar here and this, I mean, this crosswalk here and this crosswalk right here are not valid.
There's no stop sign even there, and that needs to be perfectly.
People don't know that, but I'm just telling you, I try to say it every time people come in here. You have to wait. Cars will fly by you at 50 here. And you can put your hands up and cuss and do all you want, but it doesn't matter. You're just alive. Stay alive, all right?
Like over at Thaxton, there's no sidewalk at some point. And there's just that one little stop sign when they come out, I forget what name the road is, but.
Thaxton,
Is that
that's
Thaxton?
Thaxton.
And so like if I'm walking the neighborhood and doing my loops, right there's really nowhere to cross safely. And you can't keep going down towards Waterton on that side. You have to cross over to get to.
And again, that's Hillsborough County. For some reason, they deem
They
not,
didn't make a
they didn't
sidewalk
make a
on that.
sidewalk there, and I don't
And
know
that's
why.
on a curve. That's
Yeah.
especially dangerous.
And you would think they would have done it. But when do you want to bring it up in your property?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll do
So-
that.
Don't we have a committee report from Marlon and then that?
Yeah, we're going to strategic right now, Marlon.
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so just basically recapping, I mean, we, as a precursor to the CIP workshop on Tuesday, the 16th, we basically set up all the things that we did at that workshop. We had all the different worksheets that each of us worked on individually with the different projects. We had Mark and Adriana's expense projections through the fiscal year 2027. And then we used all that information to conduct a workshop that evening, November 16th. I don't know what month I'm in. And we focused, as a reminder, on fiscal year 2022, where we essentially already had the number that we had to stay within. And we will be following up with the second workshop on Tuesday, December 14th, where we will focus on the 5-year planning horizon from fiscal 2023 through fiscal 2027, and look at which projects we wish to prioritize within that planning timeframe. So that is strategic.
Will the proposed, I know there was a spreadsheet with multiple different columns of different ideas and options. Would that be available to the residents before the 14th somehow?
It's on the website right now,
It's on the website or the app?
on the website, lakestcharles.org, on the
I didn't
homepage.
know I didn't know we have it.
On the app, there's a button on the website.
Is there?
And there's a link to the website.
Perfect. Thank you.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just to let everyone know that that document for the CIP is a live changing document. So let's make sure whatever is there is the most current that we think, what. And how,
Hey,
how
I'll
we-
warn you, that thing's changed 100 times already, so
Yeah.
just be prepared.
I put it on the website where it states fiscal year 22 was approved by the board only. So only fiscal year 22, you'll see it, it's in green.
And
The
some of
numbers
that
are
might
there.
change.
And some
Needs
may
to be
change.
revised.
And
Yeah.
2022 may be revised.
Right, it's
So,
a dynamic
yeah.
process, we're moving things
Yeah.
all the time.
that was my point. It's a dynamic and changing document. It's a living document. So nothing's set in stone
Yeah.
until we finish.
Yeah, and just to reiterate that point, I'm saying the same things. Everybody else is saying the same thing. Fiscal year 23 through fiscal year 27, any numbers and X's or whatever it is that you see in those years, those are not at any point valid until we actually have the workshop on the 16th of December. In fact, those are, you can't consider any of those numbers legitimate. You can look at them as a list of projects, but any of the numbers on there there's nothing official about them whatsoever.
And that will be the 14th.
That would be the 14th.
The
next
14th.
Oh, did I
week.
say, I'm sorry, my apologies. Mhm.
You're on the wrong day and the wrong month, Mario.
You know, I'm in February, I'm on the 16th, I don't know, whatever.
That's
Christmas, I get it.
Any other questions?
No, I think that's it. Anyway, no.
Okay, thank you.
All right. I don't have any matters relating to the CDD, so we'll move on.
I have one question.
Okay, there we go.
For your, just to clarify, because Sabrina was the chair before, so there's been a transition of power here, so I just want to be clear. What is our procedure? Because we had some issue when we had time off and coverage. What is the policy and what is the communication plan for taking vacations? How does that work?
Sabrina, you were the chairman, so I'll see what you said and then I'll say what I said.
Well, I don't have the history as to what we normally do during the holidays, but I believe that our board discussions covered the concern about having everybody on staff being gone at the same time. And that was something that we weren't going to allow to happen again.
I think what happened, and Adriana, when we sat down with Brian and Ed, when I talked to them with Supervisor Nelson, if they did take off as a family thing, that we had coverage, is what it came down to. Are we having a concern right now with over the holidays?
Yes.
So are they off on the holidays?
Yes,
How's
they spoke to Mark, as Mark is their supervisor, we spoke to Mark. It's on the calendar, and the way it's actually working out is they have holiday paid days, and they have a floating holiday. So they're technically only missing out on 2 days of work. which I believe
Greg.
Greg is going to, or Mark has Greg for coverage, to cover those
That's my
days.
question. The coverage, how is that being communicated in an official manner? And was it even communicated before the time was put on the calendar?
Well, it sounds like they went to Mark and Mark contacted Greg.
And actually, Greg contacted me and said he was available during the holidays.
So they go to Mark because Mark is their immediate supervisor.
Okay, that wasn't my understanding. I think I was under the impression that Greg was said, hey, I might need your help, but nothing was specific.
Not specific because I didn't know the schedule yet, but I know it's not a lot of days.
All right, so Jenny,
So
we
I'm
need,
just saying that there needs to be a little more refined process that's more clear than just an expectation. You understand what I'm saying? With dates and it wasn't clear. He didn't know until he looked at the calendar when they were gone.
But he offered to me several weeks ago, actually, before that was ever on the calendar, that if I needed help during holidays. But it wasn't specific, it was just the general.
In general.
Greg, do you have anything to say? Because we're talking about you.
Yes.
Yeah, Greg, what do you say?
I will help out where I can help out. I'm working full time through the holidays, but I help out where I can help out. That's what happens.
And see, sometimes he's got to work his real job, his full-time
Oh,
job.
of course,
It'll work out.
of course it does. I think what
It's only
Jenny's,
2 days, but
I know, so what's their schedule? So Christmas, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are on what days? I know I look at,
Friday and Saturday.
because I always look forward to Friday and Saturday. So are they not here Friday and Saturday?
No, so they won't be here Friday and Monday because of those 2 days.
So they're off Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Mhm. And then,
So are they here Thursday?
no, they will be off. And then the first is a paid day, so they take that off on Friday. They're using their floating on Thursday, so
I'm not
technically
concerned
they're
about the
off
money.
Tuesday and Wednesday,
I'm concerned about.
28 and 29.
Well, I'm worried about the coverage.
I'm talking about, I don't care about whether they're getting paid or not getting paid, that's not.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about coverage.
So there's nobody covering the clubhouse from December 23rd through January.
That's what I'm getting
2nd.
at.
there never has been.
Okay, that's what I said. I don't have the
There never
history,
has
so
been. We've
we
always
need
It's
to
taken
not
have
just the
operations.
clubhouse. I'm talking about doggy doo-doo stations and.
That's
trash
what
cans.
I'm saying.
That's what I'm
Coverage.
concerned about.
That's what I said. Coverage. Coverage meaning every trash can in this neighborhood that smells horrible, that no one empties it. And if someone, we've never been up here in this, I'm on my 7th year and we've never had anybody during that week that I know of. But I'm worried about the trails and if something happens, who's gonna pick it up and clean it up? And the trash, because we have a lot of people that like to litter on Lake St. Charles Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sit and look at Bud Light cans for 7 days. I refuse to do that.
Well, and that's what I
So
wanted to be
essentially,
clear.
their main duties would be taken care of
Uh-huh.
until they take off. And then when we would have Greg here for coverage, he would just be doing the doggy stations and streets and trails for trash. He wouldn't be doing any of the other major things that the guys do.
Right.
It's
But
just,
he's not gonna be able to do that daily.
they don't do it daily.
It's probably 1 or 2 days. And that's-
Streets and trails.
I
and doggy
think, Greg, is
stations.
it 1 or 2 days hard? Being an employee,
We'll take care of
okay.
it. Not-
The reason I bring it up is if he wasn't here, we need to have a better plan than say, oh, Greg will do it.
We'd have to hire someone else to do it.
That Mark had the conversation with him and that's why it was okay. So
I
if he
think-
wasn't here.
I
they
think
wouldn't
Jenny
have-
doesn't want to say it. She wants a better
Process.
process with people letting them know and coming and getting permission to take off. In my job, I have to get permission to take off. That's just life.
Right.
If
and
you
they-
work at a thing, you have to come and say, hey, they want off, and we say, okay, you can take off.
There might have been a better communication to all the supervisors saying, this is what Mark has agreed to. He's gonna cover for Brian and Ed. These are the dates you're taking off, but none of that came to us as far as I could tell.
Right, and
It
that's,
was done behind the scenes, but yet this is the board that makes decisions about. My main concern is that we cover the tasks that need to be covered
every day.
Well, it can't be every day if you're gonna have him do it. He has a full-time.
No, I know that, but I mean, it's the everyday tasks have to be covered. I don't care if you miss a day.
Well, like Thanksgiving, I'll give that. as
Yeah,
an
I mean, there's a
example.
lot of people are out of town. There's not gonna be as many dogs as normal.
That's not true, though. Those cans were full. Were they not full, Greg?
Stuff will get covered here. It's not a big deal.
Well, he's making light of it now.
Well, we didn't have to-
Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Nelson.
let's bang on something so only one person talks at a time. So what we need to do is just come up with a plan and then do it.
Right.
And I think that maybe, our staff, since you're the committee chair and you're the chairman of the management committee and the chair, have them run it through you. And then once you approve it, then send it out to us. So we know.
All right, sounds good. We'll discuss. Here for y'all.
Question.
Yes.
Question.
Marlon.
I just, I don't want to speak for Ginny, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm understanding the crux of also what she, I think, is drawing attention to is, I'm hearing that word process. So, and your point, Rob, about the need to request time off and for it to be approved. So from the standpoint of the process, have we addressed, I guess I'm asking the process question of, in other words, if someone just because someone wants to take a day off, does that mean they automatically get it, or do they have to request it? And then depending on the circumstances, may be granted it or not granted it. And I'm not sure if the crux of that has been addressed by the comments that I just heard.
I don't believe we have a specific policy or procedure.
I was gonna say, we do not have a policy since I have been on the board. However, it needs to be addressed by this board and by my committee moving forward.
Take the names out.
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
obviously- But there should be a procedure like this. These are the tasks that need to be covered if I'm gonna be gone, and here's my plan. If we hire someone externally, we've never done that. So do we have a plan and he's not available? We don't even have that. You see what I'm saying? It's not as.
Yeah, we do, Dave Nelson.
Yeah.
Well, and that may be the solution, but it should be.
Sorry,
clearer
Dave.
than it's been. It shouldn't be as nebulous, in my opinion. Forget, if I wasn't here, he wasn't here, what would the plan be? How would you approach it is more important to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There needs to be a process that needs to be discussed. It needs to be discussed by the management committee, and then it needs to be brought to you
Do you
guys.
have any volunteers that would be willing to do that?
Okay.
Recommend tabling it for the management committee to figure it out.
You
Yes.
guys can mean your names and contact, and then when we come through these situations.
So
and if
essentially,
they ask,
in the past,
line up.
Mark is the property manager, he's their supervisor.
Right.
The guys come to Mark and ask for permission. It's always worked that way, and then he either approves or denies it. The board, yes, the board is the majority of the board, but you guys have never actually been directed to the staff. If there's an issue, you guys come to Mark or I, because we're the management team and we manage them. I've stepped to the side because of conflict, so Mark is the one that manages the guys.
Right.
So it's never really been where every single person comes to the board to request a day off. And I believe there is a policy on that. Let me look into it tomorrow.
Right.
Old thing.
Well, that's why I
It's
wanted
always
to,
been-
that's why I want to discuss it in the committee meeting, because yeah, just because we've never done it, doesn't mean we're doing it right.
Right, it's always
You
been
know what
under
I'm
the
saying? So-
direction of Mark,
Sure.
so that, oh, well, he said to do this and he said to do that, and then there's a whole conflict.
Chair.
of opinion.
Yes, yes,
Procedure.
yes, Marlon.
Chair.
Hold on, Marlon. Yes.
Yeah, just to address Adriana's point there, I'm not suggesting in my comments that needs to be the case. I'm looking at it from a purely board governance standpoint, and I'm asking whether or not there is a process in place to address this. That's the crux of the question I'm asking, not so much saying we need to change it so the board does the approval of each day off or anything like that. And frankly, I think that would be micromanaging. But what I am asking is there a process in place? And if so, what is it?
Okay, so.
And I want to make sure that addresses all the
Let me-
different circumstances we're speaking of.
Let me clear it up real quick. There is not a process.
Right, item
somewhat,
management.
somewhat process is not a process, okay? Here's the issue we had from in the past that she's talking about in the board. It's the fact that we have no coverage. So do we all trust Mark to make the decision? Yes. And Adriana has taken herself out of the equation because of relationships or relatives. So the bottom line is there needs to be a process is what I'm saying that we can discuss in my committee meeting, bring it to you as a motion. That the process is if everybody's going to be gone, what are we going to do? So all the board members know what's going to take place
Correct.
before 2 days before, or I mean, it needs to be done
It's
2
a
weeks prior.
dynamic that's unique right now because those people all work here and they all leave and they have different functions. If they were different families, it wouldn't even be an issue.
Right.
So that's because that's unique, but the process should be there regardless of the players.
Right, and even Ginny is saying, if Greg's not available and Mark gives them the day off and the board gives them the day off, because I think people should be with their families, do we have an option of hiring someone else? Just for those days, and what will we pay, right?
I'm not
We
saying
should
he's not
have,
gonna
we
do
should
it.
have a compensation plan, yes.
Yes,
We've
it's
asked for
a compensation
volunteers, there are a few
plan is what
people
I'm
who
getting at.
volunteer, but I think we should pay them.
I do too.
They should be paid.
If you're gonna empty trash cans and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I don't think we should be an age limit. I know there's a bunch of teenager kids in here that would do it over the holidays for whatever and just take the trash out.
He's volunteered to do it this time.
Well, we're gonna-
I'm not saying he didn't, and he's.
But he's on staff.
Yes,
Right.
but the point is, whether it's him or somebody else, the coverage needs to be figured out a little bit more robustly. than
Well,
what it
that's
is.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna get to it and we're gonna come back to you guys.
This
Ma-
23rd
Committee, let's move
Yep.
forward.
Yep,
All right. We'll move forward. It's gonna go to the committee. All right,
yes.
we're moving to the property manager.
grant, you need a grant.
yes, I do need approval because that is one of the things I have to submit with the paperwork is the board motion approving the project.
Say it again.
The board approval of the project.
Is it the light? Is it the
I
lighting?
have to include that.
Need to
The
be
project is, no information yet. Just got it. This is a simple one. That's why I'm doing it. And it's lighting the entranceway
That's fine.
with specialty lighting. There's a kind of a world, not a world renowned, very renowned company in this country. And the owner lives right down here on Riverview Drive called Premier Outdoor Lighting. And they do some really high-end stuff all over the country. But it's lighting at night of our entryway, the trees and the columns where the trail is and some light down onto the path there. A couple of different phases and the lights are able to be programmed through Bluetooth. So you can change them throughout the year. If you want to make them all red for Valentine's Day, you can do that. Much like they do in downtown Tampa with the bridges and the buildings. Cost of the project would be about $14,000 and the grant would cover $5,000. Depending on the phases that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Is this just aesthetic? Or is there some?
Well, the sidewalk is extremely dark, the walkway, and the narrow planters. I mean, somebody's gonna careen into one of them one day. And you're going down a wide boulevard straight away, and then it narrows down to those very dark, narrow. I think it's kind of a safety issue, actually, and it is aesthetics.
Yes.
I'd like to know what we could get for the $5,000 grant. I think we need to look at grants to fund things without it becoming 2-3 times the cost to the CBD.
That's what, actually, that's exactly in line with the picnic and the other thing. I'm just-
Yeah, which is
just
why
sort of-
we have too many, I think we have too many financial concerns right now of greater merit that need to be addressed.
What would the
But-
maintenance be?
But the thing was, weren't you looking for a motion just to file the grant to see what we got totally?
Yeah.
We'll get the 5,000, I'm confident of that, but we have to have a project plan. You know, we can par it down,
I was gonna say, could we get the $5,000 and then just,
we should at least match it.
Yeah, like downgrade it
Yeah,
and
We
then,
could do that.
but what
no?
What-
All right.
CIP or budget item are we not gonna do, and we're already wanting to do the trail, I kind of
Well,
understand.
I think we have to get back to that argument of what are our highest priorities? And if it's the trail and the security, I really think we need to look at the trail and the security with every dollar, every like St.
Available
Charles
dollar.
CDD dollar. Grant dollars to do something else, that's a separate thing. But I don't think we have the luxury, it's just $10,000, it's just $14,000, but it all adds up to the $600,000 that we need to do the trail. And I'm just afraid that we kind of keep getting sucked into these wonderful projects, and it's just pulling us away from these big ugly ones that we've got to get done.
I would prefer that the money be spent on that at a backboard, because every single resident, including the villas, benefits from that.
And you can revisit that, but
And by the way, the roof, we can repair it for
Our backboard
$15,000.
advocate, Lennox,
We can get the roof repaired for 15, not 50.
15,
15, they can fix it.
so you're saying now our numbers are different on the CIP.
but again,
But that's something we can, I say this is something we discuss when we're going over the CIP. Because this is a CIP item.
Yeah,
I agree.
there are a lot of other things. I mean, I do. think-
I will
agree with
say-
you. We need to back up the master plan the park before we end up doing some construction that we end up having to redo because something else wasn't.
And there's some other things that were brought to our attention tonight that need to be addressed too.
Like
That-
dredging or whatever.
Yeah, the CIP, because we can't forget about the villas. They're a part of the community. We ask money from them. You know,
And
there's,
that's.
it's
part of our
gonna be,
interest too.
there's gonna be more money eventually, so.
Anybody wants to help volunteer for deck rating, 10 o'clock AM here tomorrow.
Anything else? We'll table that.
No, if you want to approve it, then I can go ahead and proceed. Like taking a $10,000 limit, if you're okay with that. If not, then
I
I'm
don't,
not doing it.
okay, well,
What's the
I think we'll postpone it.
What's the
That's-
deadline?
The 16th.
So if we met Tuesday, and made a decision of the project that would fit into
I
that.
can prepare it and just change a quick number. It's got to be by 5 o'clock.
Marlon, what's your thought?
I concur with what you were saying in terms of it's another CIP project, and if it's something that we want to do, then we need to evaluate it vis-a-vis the other things. If the deadline is the 16th and we meet on the 14th, you can certainly go through the preparation steps, but the execution, I think, would have to wait until it's approved.
Yeah, but I don't know if we want Mark working on that if we're not gonna pass it.
It's done.
what is
It's
it
one
for?
estimate.
I
Have to do anything. That's why I think.
Okay.
It's super easy.
All right, well, then we can do it the 16th then.
I have a question for Martin. What are the parameters? Does it have to be the lighting? Can it be like the backboard or the pond over there?
It's lighting.
It can only be lighting?
They want things that build a sense of community. That's kind of their thing.
Okay.
Make the community stronger, communications,
Oh, well,
benches,
need some
socialization,
fountains, right?
theming, the unity.
We had the idea of.
Fountains all over.
Dog park or whatever.
I said we need fountains all over, right?
Fountains.
Yeah, fountains.
By the way, Bay News 9 did interview Sabrina because of all the grants that we have gotten. They sent a reporter to speak with her because they had so many different.
was very
examples here.
nice.
They wanted to
It's
be-
very nice. You're a celebrity.
You're
All right.
Yeah, you're-
Can we move?
Can we get a copy? Put it, post it?
No.
What's that?
Tell Dave no. Tell Dave no.
I'd say you would prepare it and then we'll bring it up at the
Can
CFO.
we get an option for $5,000?
Yeah, I can get it to.
That's what I'm-
Where it's
Yeah.
matching funds, I can get that.
Free money, I want free money.
Yeah, I do too.
So we get
Yeah,
some.
what a dramatic difference
10,000
this
done
was.
for 5 on all four.
Chair,
It'd be better if it was
Chairman?
already-
Yeah,
Chairman.
yes.
It strikes me as we're having this discussion, and I'm not sure what the mechanism for this might be, so I'm going to ask Adriana and Mark perhaps to give some advice on this. It strikes me that to even as diligent as we may be in our CIP planning process, there are continually going to be potentially things that come up in the intervening time period where we may be put in a position of having to decide whether or not to pursue something that may require something from a matching standpoint to qualify for a grant, even if we were to pare this down, like Mark was saying, to 10,000, because we should match it or something like that. The question I would have is there a mechanism aside from just allocating sort of a generic CIP line to allow for some space to be able to take advantage of those types of opportunities? And I only submit that as an item for consideration for some people to think about between now and the 14th, in case the answer is yes, in which case then it becomes a component of that discussion. Not necessarily looking for an answer tonight, unless you know the answer is absolutely no. But if it is something potentially, then it could factor into our discussion on the 16th. If it's not, then I'm not really sure how we address these types of circumstances.
All right, I think that's an excellent question. I think we can all think on that and bring it our opinion the 14th.
From a process standpoint, Mark, did you say that, I mean, are the funds available every year, the 5,000 match?
Yes,
If we
every
come up
year,
with a
they are
project
available
with
every year, if they select their project.
So is what I'm understanding Marlon saying, if we kind of had a budgeted line item for.
Yeah, that's
grant
exactly what
contract,
he's
and we
saying.
Set the 5,000 aside.
But
and-
you don't have to match it, so we don't even have to.
Oh, we don't have to match it?
I think it's looked favorably on. They don't have specific guidelines, but I think they look favorably if you're putting in
So
as
we
much
could get
into
a
the
back
project
for
as they are.
5,000.
What about their 5 to our 2? Their 5 to our 2.
I like it.
So, all right, let's go.
Thank you.
Adriana,
I don't have anything. Actually, I will be preparing the board goals and objectives, which I will email out to you.
I just did those. I know.
And I will put it on the email for when I release them back.
I'll be here to fill it out.
Can you send me I have sometimes trouble with my email on this phone. I went from that phone, it's hard. Can you text me when you send it out so I can?
I'm glad you brought that. Did someone hack our email or something? Because mine does, I get Lake St. Charles, but I can't respond. And a bunch of people contact me and I cannot respond to them. And I don't want the residents to think. The problem is I have to go in and then I have to look them up under my email. And then they don't respond to me because I'm sure they don't see the name at Lake St. Charles. You see, and I think they just delete it.
So there was there was an update. You have an iPhone, right?
Right.
There was a security update for that. So when you come in for the management committee,
Yeah.
I can go ahead and
Fix that.
yeah,
Okay,
check
because
the settings
I
that you
cannot
have to
send
what
an
the
email
rules are.
to people with concerns and everything.
Is it an update through iPhone or is it update through Vista Logic?
Through Rackspace.
Huh?
It's Rackspace. It's no longer Vista Logic.
Rackspace?
Rackspace.
That may be my
Can
problem.
you text me what I need to do?
Yeah, I can send
Because
you
I have an
instructions.
iPhone too. I don't have-
I don't have any problems. with mine.
Send it to me too, Adriana.
Okay.
Dave.
They like you, Sabrina. They don't like me. So,
But yeah, I can check it out.
all
when
right.
you come in for mine. Or I can send you the instructions if you want to take the stab at it.
Okay. All right. Anything
I'm
else?
going to be sending all of you kind of the projections that operational projections, because we put some escalators on there. I did percentages of increase to what we project to happen, but not every line item has them. And some of them I may have projected higher than you think it should be. So just kind of be prepared to address that generally, because that's the foundation of what's left over for. And any other things that you think we need, like one of the options for operations was, are we going to include a budget for Hillsborough County Sheriff's?
We
Up
have,
to-
we have that.
Okay, we have that now. That's going to continue increase or whatever, or any other anticipated staff or whatever else that you think you're going to need in the next 5 years. It would be operation. That may not even be in the budget.
Okay.
Chairman.
Yes, Dave, go ahead. Quick.
Oh, quick. Okay. I think it looks pretty good for our chances of getting a sound barrier wall. If all of us go down there, and 20 to 22 foot tall, that's going to make it a lot quieter. And so all the residents that had to put up with the noise along the I-75 I mean, I know it's going to be a while, but that's a good sign.
Right, and I will say this, I'm glad you brought that, because I want to tell our residents that go. We want them to build a berm and then put the sound barrier on the berm.
Right.
that we need to ask for it. I don't care if they won't do it. we
They
need
can't
to-
because of the drainage. They've got to drain within their right of way because they're not gonna.
They
come
can't
to
move
us.
past that drain?
To Vermin, I think we put the wall at where the fence is, the right of way
Right.
fence, which is about 6 feet below the road. And then from there go up 22.
Well,
So instead of
usually,
15
usually when you put a berm on there, like you build the berm up to 4 to 5 feet, and you put the wall, there's a drainage thing that goes in. It literally goes a foot and a half down, and then they run it between that berm down to the drainage thing.
If they have the room, yeah.
But I think we should I mean, we're not gonna get it, but I think we should all ask for it. It just helps the community. You know, but
We should expect to get it.
before we go, nothing else? Hey, thank you guys for coming. Please come for the 14th. Come to all the meetings so you guys are up to date. We do take lots of consideration from the audience and stuff as we move forward with the CIP. And the CIP thing is a big deal. That's a lot of, I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat out the trail. Because the trail needs to be done and that's 98% used by everybody. That's the #1 amenity that Lake St. Charles Villas and the neighborhood has. But please come when you can, so you're up to date and you don't hear false rumors and stuff, but we appreciate y'all.
And we will push out on the end website, the FDOT address where you can look at the presentation on your own, maybe see the maps, for what they're talking about, and the email address for any comments or concerns that we want to send them.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second. Third.
All in favor? Aye. Good.
I love it, James.
Correct.
Don't